AI minds, quantum leaps. Cut the noise, dive deep. Truth unlocked. Dr. Mike on the mic. Tech Unfiltered is on the clock. Now it's time for the show.
Here is the number that caught my attention this morning. At Meta, changes to internal platforms and infrastructure reportedly increased by 220% from a year earlier. Changes that actually reached people using the products increased by 36%. Those are internal figures reviewed by Reuters, not audited company-wide metrics. Even with that qualification, the contrast matters. It is the difference between producing more work and delivering more value. I am Dr. Michael Litman, and this is Tech Unfiltered. Today, Reuters published a special report about Meta's effort to become what it called an AI native company. The easy headline is that Mark Zuckerberg tried to replace employees with AI and the plan failed. The evidence supports a more careful and more useful story. Meta reorganized parts of the company around AI, smaller teams, and much greater code output, then encountered limits in reliability, review capacity, security, and trust. Reuters says its investigation drew on scores of internal documents, employee posts, and recordings, along with interviews with more than 20 people. That sourcing matters because many of the striking figures were never publicly released by Meta. Meta did confirm important parts of the account. An internal effort called Project OT involved cost reduction, team redesign, closing some open positions, moving workers into priority areas, and removing some lower performers. Meta considered workforce actions in May and November. It carried out the May action and later stopped planning the November wave. Reuters could not determine exactly why Zuckerberg changed course. That remains unknown, so it would be irresponsible to invent one explanation. The scale also needs care. Reuters reviewed scenarios in which reductions for some individual teams could reach 60%. That was not a proposal to cut 60% of Meta's total workforce. Major units were outside the program, and the scenarios combined layoffs, redeployment, eliminating unfilled roles, and performance-related removals. The workforce action completed in May was roughly 10%, according to Reuters. The organizational idea was appealing. Some product groups would operate as very small pods, sometimes with 2 or 3 engineers and a designer. A broader role called a builder would blur traditional front-end and back-end boundaries while AI handled more routine work. By June, at least 11 organizational units were testing some version of that model. Smaller teams can move quickly, but only if what they produce is useful and dependable. That returns us to the opening numbers. 220% more internal changes, but 36% more changes reaching users. Code is an input, not the final value. Before a change helps anyone, it has to be reviewed, tested, integrated, secured, deployed, monitored, and maintained. AI can make generation dramatically cheaper. If verification does not improve with it, the bottleneck simply moves downstream. The same internal figures reviewed by Reuters showed major technical or security incidents rising about 40%, and engineering time spent firefighting rising about 70%. Meta declined to comment on those specific numbers. They are not proof that AI alone caused the incidents, and they should not be treated as audited results for every part of Meta. They do illustrate a familiar systems problem. If one editor receives work from a much faster printing press, printing is no longer the constraint. Review is. Reuters also described an AI support bot exploit that contributed to the compromise of prominent Instagram accounts, including the dormant account associated with the Obama White House. That does not prove every AI agent is unsafe or that support teams should remove their bots. It shows that an automated system inside a sensitive workflow creates another attack surface. That new door needs permission limits, security testing, monitoring, human escalation, and a rollback plan. The human side is just as important. A favorable employee morale measure reportedly declined from 74% to 55%. Some engineers were reassigned to an applied AI engineering group where they created software puzzles and related material used as training data. Meta told Reuters that this work helped train a later model. Some employees feared they were helping build systems that could eventually reduce the need for their own jobs. That was an employee interpretation, not a documented statement of Meta's intent for each person. but the fear is understandable. In some engineering units, headcount reportedly fell by as much as 30% after redeployment and workforce actions. Reuters had also previously reported that Meta tracked some employee device activity, including keyboard and mouse behavior, to help train agents. Meta later paused that effort. Measurement can improve a process, but measurement that feels like surveillance can destroy trust, especially when employees already worry that they are training a possible replacement. This is not a story about Meta abandoning AI. Zuckerberg reportedly acknowledged in an internal July meeting that agents had not accelerated work as quickly as he expected. He also expected improvement over the next 3 to 6 months. Meta is still investing on the order of $130 billion in AI infrastructure this year. It also kept final performance and promotion decisions in human hands. The evidence does not support saying that a bot autonomously fired anyone. 2 weeks before the Reuters investigation, Meta published an essay arguing that AI could make people more productive, create new kinds of entrepreneurship, and produce an abundance of work. That is the company's vision. Placed beside the reported internal experience, it suggests that the long-term destination and the difficult transition should be evaluated separately. Optimism about what AI may become is not evidence that every present system can safely carry the responsibility assigned to it. For workers, the takeaway is not that AI takes every job tomorrow. Job redesign can arrive before the technology is mature enough to handle the work it has been given. Learning the tools still matters. So do the skills that activity dashboards often miss: defining the right problem, validating output, integrating systems, understanding customers, securing sensitive workflows, and accepting responsibility when something breaks. Machines can generate. People remain accountable. For managers, prompts, lines of code, pull requests, tickets closed, and documents generated are activity measures. Better measures include time to a stable release, defects reaching production, security incidents, rework, customer outcomes, and the human hours consumed by review and recovery. If output triples while delivered value rises by 1/3 and firefighting rises 70%, the organization did not eliminate the traffic jam. It moved it. This is why workplace AI is not merely a software installation. It changes incentives, job boundaries, review loads, security assumptions, and the way performance is measured. A company may save time during generation and lose it through integration or correction. It may remove roles that look duplicative and later discover that those people carried tacit knowledge or quality control. It may create smaller teams that move quickly but are too thin to manage unusual cases. None of those outcomes is inevitable, and Meta's reported experience cannot tell us exactly how much each factor caused. They are risks that a serious adoption plan should measure. The answer is not automatically to reject AI. It is to identify the new constraint and keep enough people, expertise, and controls around it. Meta's experience is one company's experience, not a law of the universe. Still, 220 versus 36 is a useful reality check. AI can produce more work. Organizations still have to prove that the extra work becomes stable, secure, customer-relevant value. Stopping the second contemplated workforce wave may be the most important detail. It suggests that a major staffing decision was treated as a hypothesis that could be reconsidered rather than a prophecy that had to be fulfilled. More leaders should leave room for that kind of evidence-based course correction. Send your questions or story ideas my way. Thanks for listening.